Welcome back to Grand Tactician Civil War, the Union Campaign. Last episode, we fought a battle at Charlottesville, Virginia, and the Army of Northern Virginia is continuing to retreat. Quick overview of where we're at. So the gaps are getting pretty large in national morale. Confederacy has been driven below 50 now. You can see they're lost. The biggest factor in that has been the results of battles. And the second biggest factor, well, actually the biggest factor was they lost the capital. They lost Richmond. And then battles, and then occupation of towns. And because of all of those factors, as well as some of their national policies, Confederate support in the states, in their states, has dropped to 60. We've had two pretty big battles now against the Army of Northern Virginia, and that has driven the overall Confederate military morale way down. The gap in fielded men has increased a little bit, and I think that's because of the increased casualties that they've taken. There's still the mystery of 88,000 tons of Confederate warships somewhere, probably building most of that. We still have an advantage in military experience, but that gap isn't really growing all that much. It has grown some, but even in losing battles, I think there's still a gain in military experience. Not as much, but it's there. They're ahead of us in European relations, as they have been throughout and probably will continue to be, but not enough to have a real chance of European intervention. Our blockade is working, and we've got the big gap in weapons industry. Although I do notice we were above 5, and we're a little bit below that. I don't really know why we dropped a tiny bit. Last time I looked at this, an episode or two ago, this was around 5.1 or 5.2. So we have dropped in weapons industry for some reason. I don't know. Also, up till now, up until very recently, the combination of all these factors was overall described as a federal slight advantage, and that modifier of slight has been dropped. It's federal advantage now. No doubt that happened whenever Richmond was captured. As far as these objectives over here on the left, we've done a lot of them. Captured the capital, we've won in Confederate territory, we've won plenty of major battles. Maintain support above 60. We are way above that. This is just this is based on where we're at November 1862, which is the congressional midterm elections. So I think we're way trending very comfortably toward fulfilling this objective. We have not captured 10 forts. I haven't gone out of my way for that. That would increase our national morale. Our morale is high enough, that's not a big deal. Would be much more interested in driving Confederate national morale down, which did happen whenever we separated Western Virginia and created a new state of West Virginia. 5 consecutive land, 5 consecutive naval. Yeah, we did that a long time ago, which has kept up our own national morale, not to be sneezed at. And then we would get some more national morale if we basically take the entire Mississippi River before November 1864. I don't think I'm really that worried about that. A, because our morale is very high as it is. And B, because I'm kind of hoping that we win this war before November 1864. That's still over 2 years away. So that's kind of the broad view. Policies, we're just about to finish up breadbasket 2 as soon as this is done, which should be tomorrow. I am going to pop on industrialization 3, and then I'm going to leave slots open for government funding 3 and military 3. I've never taken this act before, Lieutenant General. What exactly does that do? Okay, so we get a Lieutenant General. Will be known throughout the nation, which will raise the spirits of the citizens. I guess that's morale and support. Will remain in command for the duration of the war. Any major losses under his command will reduce national morale. Maximum fame. So basically we get a super general that boosts national morale. I don't know if we're going to need that. Okay, kind of going. The naval picture is kind of ran out of ports to blockade up here in Virginia. The Virginia Blockade Squadron, which will soon be renamed, is coming down here around Florida and will be blockading Cedar Key and Tampa. And I have moved the now named Pensacola blockade has moved a little bit over and is now shouldn't by now be now blockading Pensacola, which had been the previously largest unblockaded Confederate port. 756,000 in tax and tariffs going into the Confederate economy, which was not impeded before and now blocked by 75%. By shifting that, we did stop blockading Cedar Key, which is not that small in itself, 228K, and that's why I'm bringing this now unemployed blockade squadron around to cover both Cedar Key and Tampa. This little port here off of Jacksonville, Fernandina, is really a pretty small amount. So we're just going to let that one go. Yeah, less than 100,000. I created another squadron, a river ironclad squadron, which I think is still forming up. I don't think they have all their ships. Yeah. So Commander Hoff needs to gather up his ships and increase readiness. But once that is formed, I did that for two reasons. A, the Confederacy is building a lot of ships somewhere, and maybe over here in the lower middle Mississippi. And B, I want to get to Memphis. There's a fort here on the river that I am going to use that ironclad river squadron to try to bust. If they're ready in time, I may try to use them against Fort Hyman as well. The Missouri Army is here at Cairo, still building another fort to guard the eastern side of Cairo. Army of Tennessee is still working on sieging down these three forts, guarding the Tennessee and Cumberland rivers. Once these are all gone, I can start moving some of these river squadrons up and get more eyes on what's going on with Confederate forces in the area. I believe these rivers are navigable pretty far. The Cumberland all the way up to here, well east of Nashville, and the Tennessee is navigable all the way up past Chattanooga. So we can get a lot more intel on this Army of Tennessee over in the Chattanooga area. And actually, just like the Virginia Blockade Squadron ran out of things to blockade, kind of the reason for being of these little York and Rappahannock River squadrons has kind of gone away. So right now I'm moving the York squadron around this point, and we'll have two different squadrons on the James, although I don't think they're going to be needed for too much longer. And then I'm moving this Rappahannock squadron up into the Potomac, just maybe help deter these little Confederate corps and armies that keep trying to pop up to Washington. I think that's going to stop happening pretty soon, though. I think maybe the better thing to do with these two squadrons, which are just riverine craft, I might just disestablish them and use those ships out of the harbor pool to build more squadrons over on the western rivers. McClellan's army is back here at Salem. Kind of pulled him back because he felt a little exposed down here at Lynchburg. Patrick's Shenandoah army is building some forts and some supply depot. Right now he's not in good shape. I'm hoping that that rectifies once this supply depot is finished. I kind of feel like he ought to have enough supply in the Shenandoah Valley with all these farms, but apparently not. Chesapeake Army is still building Union forts here, since we've got kind of this phantom fort that he cannot besiege, and which appears to be not visible or not present for some purposes, but still exists for others. It still engages navies. It does not engage or can be engaged by an army. Our ironclad squadron has been trying to work on this fort and drive its morale down and make it surrender that way, which appeared to be working for a while. However, this squadron has reached red readiness and has virtually no combat power left. Its ships aren't getting damaged by the fort. It's a very strange situation. This fort is just bugged. I know I keep saying that in every video. But because he's gone to red readiness, I can't pull him out either. He can't move. See, no movement possible due to low readiness. So when he reaches 0, which is going to be very soon, I don't know what's going to happen to this fleet. It may disintegrate, and we might lose 7 ironclads, which would be unfortunate. Not just the loss of the ships, but by the fact that this fleet under Farragut had actually gone all the way up and qualified for 3 perks, which I haven't assigned the 3rd perk because I want to see if this fleet even survives first. I do have more monitors that are built now. So I could reconstitute a similar fleet almost immediately. I just don't want to lose these perks. And the fact that this squadron might get disintegrated and why it's not having more success against this fort isn't because ironclads suck. It's because, as I'm saying for the umpteenth time, and I need to stop doing it because it's burning up recording time, but there's something bugged about this fort. And as soon as this little action is done, I'm just going to start ignoring it and pretend it's not there. Because there's not much I can do about it now. Right. So I think I've covered all this. The one other thing I want to mention is over the winter, I'm not doing it yet, but I'm going to do a little bit of reorganization of some of the corps. And I feel like most of the corps don't have enough artillery. Or at very least, I'm noticing that Confederate armies tend to have more than we do, which hasn't been a huge factor. But I like the idea of having a lot, maybe some more smoothbores in the Army for up close infantry support, not in a separate division like I've been doing, but directly under the infantry division commanders. So, in preparation for that, I have started recruiting a lot more batteries in the Indiana and Pennsylvania departments. And then later on, when we go to winter quarters, and once these guys are, present, and the Army the departments have their readiness up to speed, I'm going to start putting out a lot more batteries to the divisions in the corps. But not for now. I have also recruited some more cavalry brigades because I think I'd like to create maybe a separate cavalry corps to work either in the Army of the Tennessee or the Army of the Potomac. I'm not sure yet. But I've put cavalry guys in command of all these brigades. There's John Buford. There's George Custer, who of course is best known in history for the debacle at Little Bighorn, where he got the 7th Cavalry wiped out. But during the Civil War, where he did serve in the cavalry with the Army of the Potomac, he was actually a pretty darn impressive cavalry brigade commander. Made quite a name for himself, and well earned, validly so. Catterson, I think he's a Cav guy. No, he's just a volunteer. There's David Gregg, who was a Cav guy. I got him in command of one of these brigades. Alright. So I think that's kind of all the peripheral stuff. And then the main thing is we just finished this battle outside Charlottesville, and the Army of Northern Virginia is retreating en masse yet again. Right now they're still fighting their rearguard action. And this is their second major defeat late this summer. So I'm kind of hoping that they all retreat down south of the James. And depending on where they go, that will determine what the Army of Potomac does next before winter closes in. We've got about a month of campaigning weather remaining. I'd kind of like for 2nd Corps, which has not been heavily engaged in these last battles, or at least it wasn't at Charlottesville, kind of like for him to nip down here and push Lovell's Corps, or Lavell's Corps, out of Petersburg. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. In the last battle we fought during Charlottesville, we did lose a battery commander, KIA. I think it was in McDowell's or Tyler's rather, Tyler's Corps. I don't want to forget, I need to replace that guy. Yeah, okay, so they're retreating down toward Lynchburg. That is predictable. I was hoping they would not go across into the Shenandoah, which they shouldn't have, but sometimes the AI does wacky things, and we've lost sight of them. Okay, there's our breadbasket 2 policy. Increased ag subsidies. My hope is that that gets more provisions into the supply depot. And the Europeans like it. That doesn't hurt for this. I don't know if that actually affects intervention chance or not, though. And with that, what did I say I was going to do next? Yeah, I need to bump up policies again. And that opens up Industry 3. That puts us at 10 of 10. We max out at 12. As I said before, those 2 slots will be government funding and military 3. I'm starting to get a little more optimistic that I will be able to complete this campaign without instituting a draft. If I possibly can, that's the way I'd like to go. Yeah, Lee's HQ is coming back down here to Burkeville. That makes sense. I think the rule is supposed to be that when an army retreats, it is supposed to head toward the closest friendly controlled infrastructure point. And that is probably Burkeville. Now, worth noting, not all of his corps retreated. Johnston did not. I don't know if that's Albert Sidney or Joseph Johnston. And Magruder's corps did not. And I think that's because they were not engaged in the... I assume that's because they were not actually engaged in the Battle of Charlottesville. First Corps has been beat up a little bit. They're low on number of guns. And now would actually be a good time to make sure I get that yeah, it was Ayers who was KIA, and pretty sure this was his battery, so the game already replaced that commander, who no doubt this 5-star battalion will hate. I don't think I'll be able to find a guy that they will put up with. But I guess I could at least look for the best possible answer among artillery guys. Yeah. Highest fame major is only 1 fame. Well, Willich, artillery, he is 3 fame. And he's got 2 stars in leadership and administration. I don't know if cunning is that important for an artillery battery commander, but he looks pretty good. I think he's better than the guy that the game assigned. Let's go with this guy. Doesn't appear to have lost any stats from being promoted. I guess because he doesn't need to be promoted. It's just a battery. I think captains can command batteries. Actually, I don't think his promotion takes effect until after this window is closed. So now let's look at them. Nope, no stat loss. But Battery A is still unhappy with Captain Willich for low fame and leadership. 3 stars of fame and 2 stars in leadership. Well, they're just going to have to put up with it. Right. Yellow readiness, but high yellow readiness. Still doing okay on ammo and supply. We still have 2 undefeated corps here entrenched at Charlottesville. I don't think I want to tolerate that. I don't want First Corps taking the lead, though. Fourth Corps, I think, needs some more experience. I think. That they won't be in their first combat experience because they have at least been reinforcing or slated for reinforcing in previous battles. But they're also the biggest of the 4 Potomac Corps. Going to have 4th Corps take the lead into attacking into Charlottesville again. It'll be a while. Oh, I thought I had time running. Kind of shifting, you know, through much of this campaign, I've been kind of sitting around kind of McClellanish with the Army of the Potomac, and I'm kind of shifting now more to a 1864 Overland Campaign kind of style here of just continuing to hit the Army of Northern Virginia until they, you know, over and over again. Just historical flavor and stuff in Germany. Bismarck. Which was going on at the time. I mean, not right now. This is 1862, but in 1866, Bismarck pitched into Austria. There was the Prussian-Austrian War, which didn't last very long, but it was a pretty large-scale war, short. And then not too long after that, fought the Franco-Prussian War against France and won that pretty handily as well. Which leads to all kinds of problems. About 50 and then about 75 years from now. Which that was happening. I mean, that strand that continued on, the whole balance of power thing, and just kind of, I know I'm going off on a tangent, not even in the game, but what happens if the Confederacy succeeds and gains their independence in the 1860s, and the United States is, what is now, the North, and probably a good bit of the West, but there's a separate Confederate States of America. What happens in 1914 or 1917, 1918? There's no question that losing this war was a pretty traumatic event for the southern states. But I think the only thing worse than losing the Civil War for the Confederacy would have been to win it. That would have been a true tragedy. All right. Back to the game. Move the third core up just a little bit too, just to shorten. There we go. Okay, we've got fourth corps in the lead. The other corps are several hours behind against Johnston's corps, Joseph Johnston. A total of 3 of the ANV corps. There's like 5 or 6 of them, kind of lost count. And Jackson's Army of the Shenandoah. Total of 60,000 infantry plus 13,000 cav, 210 guns. That goes back to what I was talking about. And they're going to be on the field a lot quicker than the 1st and the 3rd Corps and the I mean, bottom line, we've got a lot more troops, but they're arriving much later. So it's a similar situation to the previous Battle of Charlottesville, in that 4th Corps is going to be on their own for quite a while against multiple Confederate corps. Second Battle of Charlottesville, and I'm sure it'll be on the same map, the Appomattox map. That's a funny quote there by Halleck. August 1862. By that point, Grant had taken Forts Henry, Donelson, had won the Battle of Shiloh. I guess Halleck didn't think too much of that. Okay, same basic strategy as I've done in a lot of these battles. Whether attack or defend, the whole trick is going to be a slow and steady process and trying to get the Confederate forces to attack into us. And yeah, onus is on us to attack. So right now it says only 11,000 men. However, there's going to be a lot more coming today. It's just afternoon. There's going to be 3 other corps on the field by nightfall. Where's the objective? There are 2 objectives. First of all, where is our army? Okay, we're starting over here in the southeast in just pretty much awful terrain. So there's Appomattox Station here, and where's Liberty Church? Oh, and Liberty Church right next to it. So basically, okay, so here's where Johnson's Corps is going to be. They have a reinforcement route from the south here, from the southwest here, along that Richmond-Lynchburg stage road here they had before. Another route up here at Oakville. And then we've got this northeast route, which is where McDowell's Army HQ is, and this spot here. So one course of action could be to come up this way along the Prince Edward Courthouse Road and try to pitch into Johnston. I think by the time we even march over there, the other Confederate corps will already be on the map. So I think another option would be go ahead and deploy and just kind of, for now, assume a defensive stance somewhere in this area. If the Confederates move forward and attack us, fine. That's what we want. But otherwise, if they don't, maybe no fighting today. And wait till tomorrow for Hooker and Patterson to come up, and then we can come at them with 3 corps. Since they hold the objectives, they may be content to just sit here. I think that would be fine. I don't want to move up into contact 1 corps against 3. Why am I not? Oh, I need to come out of HQ view. Let's take a quick look at the... We do have higher morale. Ours is confident. Confederacy's is stable. That makes sense after the previous victories. These corps are in pretty good shape for supply and ammo. I'm curious to see if Jackson is still in command of the Army of the Shenandoah. He is. And the commanders of all these corps are, as they are named, Johnston, Magruder, and Pierce. Okay, so this seems to indicate, yeah, so we have 2 corps on the map now. Pierce and Jackson will be arriving before nightfall. Johnston's corps is not very big. Oh wow, look at that. Our average training value is much higher than the Confederacy's. We're at higher readiness. I've never quite understood what this fighting spirit stat is here. It is apparently different from morale, because our morale is better than the Confederates, but the fighting spirit is about equal, with the Confederates a little bit higher. I don't know exactly what this number is derived from or what its effect is. I'm not sure of that. Anyway. Okay, now we're out of HQ. Now I can select keys and to get him out away from the edge of the map. I think initially we're just going to be in marching order. Way back when, I had intended to replace Burnside. I guess I forgot about that. And he's in command of one of our divisions. I'm not going to lead with him. Let's go with Franklin. Oop, it's a little bit close. There you go. Oh, Hazen's fine right where he is, I think. What to do with the cav? I think we'll just get the cav to go out ahead. I should have put them in front. There, let's move Franklin back a little bit. That's fine. Put the artillery can start here. Let's just have a look at the, it looks like a decent fence here, woods here, a little bit of high ground here. think right along in here will work. Let's move Stoneman up to this area. I'm going to detach him because he's going to be far away from the Army commander. And the scouts out. Oh my goodness, I forgot to go back and give all of these brigades rifles. Can't do anything about that now. Oh right, forgot about McDowell. Probe on ahead with Stoneman's Cav. Where is Keyes himself? There he is. Let's get him moving up. I thought by detaching Stoneman that I wouldn't have to wait for these orders to come all the way from Keyes. I guess I was wrong about that. don't want him to engage. I just want to get up here and verify that the revs are where I think they are. Make sure he's got the... Oh, and he's got to wait for that stupid order to get up to him. Do I need to... I'll allow initiative. I mean, the whole idea of cavalry is that they're often going to be far away from the parent commander. I kind of like for them to be a little bit more reactive to, or a little bit more responsive, I should say, to movement orders when they're far out in front or off to the side. Let's go have a look. Let's go about here. Let's have Franklin move into these woods here. First Brigade. They do have rifles. Let's put them in the center. Hazen's division. Run about in here. Put Burnside over kind of in these woods like this. Oh, there's Johnny Reb. Alright, you can go ahead and fall back. There's already a wavering Cav brigade. I guess they don't want any part of 2 brigades of cavalry. They're kind of retreating, looks like. No, they're not. Here, get over here. I don't want you engaged. And this is about to get messy. I mean, I've given them an evade order. Alright. Except, I guess he never got it. Well, let's just see how the AI does here. I've given him initiative, I've given him detached. Alright, Stoneman, do what you will do. Well, maybe we can move up. Where's Keys? Seems to be doing all right. It makes sense to dismount as long as we're going to fight anyway. Doesn't seem much point to have those scouts out. Well, he's driven one cav brigade back. Losses are light. Not taking much resilience, not taking any resilience damage. They do have the Sharps carbine. It's very well armed cavalry. Franklin, get moving. For that matter, Hazen. Get moving. I don't want to give them new orders now because, you know, I need to get these divisions formed. I'm going to get Franklin up here, put him in line, and then advance into this force. Starting to take a few losses now. They're not doing too bad. The question is, how long will their ammo hold out with those fast-firing carbines? You may be hearing my dryer in the background there. Let's get Keys up. For that matter, let's get McDowell up. Hazen's infantry is moving awfully slow here. Stoneman's guys are doing okay, but they're burning through their ammo. back. Oh, Marshall's brigade is taking some serious casualties. So has Seymour. Franklin almost in position. Change formation. Hazen is almost in position to move up. I'm going to go ahead and give him the order. Let's move Hazen to about here, and then we'll put him in line when he gets to this position. I don't want a full 4 brigade front. That'll get a little unwieldy. Let's go with Franklin. Go to double line. Stoneman's guys doing a good job. They're vulnerable to an attack coming up in their rear, though. In the weather, and without their scouts, very, very low field of view. I think they're starting to react that they see, I think they see Franklin probably coming up now. Kind of edge him away and get out of contact. For some reason, that's seen as a Where is Burnside? Why isn't Burnside moving up with his brigades? Pull Stoneman back to about here. They did a nice job on that initial contact with the enemy. These Sharps rifles, or Sharps carbines rather, are pretty good. Why is Burnside's division so effed up? I don't understand that. These guys aren't moving at all. Is this brigade bugged? No, I guess Burnside's just not getting the order. Hazen's just about in position. I'm going to go ahead and give Hazen the double line. I think maybe Franklin needs to stop. Where's the cap artillery? Okay. Yeah, right here's fine. Let's just have him right here in these woods is fine. That unsupported artillery there was pretty tempting, but there's more forces coming up. I'm trying to get Stoneman extricated here. I think he can probably mount up though at this point. Hazen up to about up just a little bit. No, let's move him a little bit to, yeah. I want to leave some room there in the middle for artillery to have. Unlimber. Unlimber. I don't know if they're going to have shots on anything. Doesn't look like it. Those fields of fire look terrible. That's looking a little better. I think the weather is probably slowing movement of everybody. Okay, Burnside, that laggard brigade, they're moving now. Speed this up a little bit. Okay, artillery engaging here. On Limber. On Limber. Move Keys over just a little bit to get right in the middle of his core. And let's get Stoneman to kind of move over here behind Burnside's flank. Nice job, Stoneman. Army of the Shenandoah is now entering the battle somewhere. Now the question is, are we going to be able to deploy our corps coming up on either side here, or are they going to have to start back at the roads? Don't know. Why is our morale so much lower than the Confederates? Is it just because they're racking up objective points? I think night's going to fall here in about 12 minutes. It's Confederate Brigade withdrawn, and Tyler's on the field. However, he's got to deploy back here and come up the roads in the morning. Okay, so the plan is going to be, I'll probably go to single line on some of these and kind of spread out along in here and wait for Tyler's corps to come up before we pitch into the Confederate Army. But I think I'm going to put a cut in here, and we will continue that in the next episode. Thank you for watching.